to.
He said, "Wait a minute. When you talk, I'm gonna put it on you."
Good afternoon, each and every last one of you, and thank you for tuning in to this story out of South Carolina. It really saddened me that we have to bring you guys more bad news that's happening in our community. It used to be where it was a black thing. Now it does not matter. It do not matter. This thing is happening across the board. Many people are losing their lives once they're arrested and placed in custody. October the 2nd started off as a normal day for everyone else, but Lavelle was having some type of mental disorder and he was looking for help. Um, but things went wrong. Things did not go the way it's supposed to went, and people did not follow the proper protocol that they should have followed to protect Lavelle in his mental breakdown that he was going through. Instead of him being taken to get evaluated, he was actually put in custody of the Spartanburg Police Department. And guys, 5 hours later, he was deceased on Rodeo Live, where I am bringing this story to you guys from Spartanburg, Virginia. And I do have his mother on the line. That's very nice. Miss Beverly Reese. Miss Beverly, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, darling.
I do apologize what you're going through, and I sympathize with you because no one should have to experience what you're experiencing from the hands of the police officer. Can you tell us more about your son?
My son was a good young man. Not just as a mother. I'm just telling you overall, his character, his demeanor. I mean, he was a Howard University 100% full scholarship young man for athletic, for track. And somewhere along the line, study shows with young people, especially black people, um, between the ages of 18, 17, and 28. I don't know what kind of disorder it is. They have mental breakdowns. And it happened to Lavelle. I mean, he was a good young man. He had schizophrenia. And overall, on October the 2nd, when they picked him up, they should have took my son to the hospital instead of to jail.
Can I stop you there for a minute?
Hmm.
When did you notice, if he was full scholarship and everything, when did you notice that things wasn't right with him mentally? When did you start taking notice, and what were some of the signs?
Well, number one, we live in South Carolina now. We've been here on the 22nd. We be here 12 years, and we come from Brooklyn, New York. And he went to college. He came home, and I don't know. The mental breakdown just happened. He came home because his grandmother was sick, and he came home for a visit because his grandmother was sick. He came home from Howard. His grandma was sick, and it just went downhill. It's no really reason. Studies show I'm not a doctor, but it just happens to black people. I don't know why, but it does. And he started talking to himself. Number one, Lavelle, when he was in New York, he went up on a roof and pulled off all his clothes and wanted to jump off. And that's when we knew, obviously, that something was wrong with him. So he went to the hospital in New York, and he stayed in there about 13 months. And they corresponded with us. We had moved down here already. They corresponded with us. The hospital in New York he was in, and the hospital down here, which was Patrick B. Harris. And I went and got him, brought him down here, and he went to Patrick B. Harris. He was in there about 11 months, and they sent him to this residential home, Midway, that people with mental disorders, they live. They feed them, they clothe them, and give them their medication on a regimen. So that basically was it. And Lavelle went back up to New York last year when he got the little stimulus check. You know, they was giving everybody those stimulus checks. So when he went back to New York, that meant he didn't go. He didn't go with medication.
Were you informed that your son with disability was going to be leaving state after he got a stimulus check? Did anyone from the institution inform you?
No, no. I noticed Lavelle hadn't called me. I speak to Lavelle every day, and I noticed Lavelle hadn't called me in a few days. And I called the facility, and they told me Lavelle went to New York. I said, "Went to New York?" He said, "Yes, he's supposed to be back with a Saturday." I called a weekday. I don't remember exactly what day I called, but they said he's supposed to be back Saturday, and he wouldn't answer my phone calls. Maybe the second week after he was up there, he finally answered and said, "Well, ma, I don't want to come back to South Carolina. You know, he was born in New York, so he went back home, but he went back home without medication."
Let me
So,
ask you this. Was that proper protocol of the facility that he was in, being that he was disabled, to just allow him to take off without informing someone of his actions?
of course not. Of course not. That's their neglect. Of course not. Of course not. They supposed to have notified me. I mean, when he did little stuff in the facility, which name is Midway. When he
Mhm.
did little stuff in the facility that he wasn't supposed to do, they would call me. So why wouldn't they call me when he left?
How did it make you feel as a mother? Your son has a disability. He's schizophrenia. He already tried to attempt to kill himself. You never know when he's gonna go off. His balance. That they actually midway actually allowed him to take money and to leave the facility without informing no one. How did that make you feel when you just got him back? You got him down here to keep a closer eye on him. What was your mind frame at that
Unacceptable.
present time?
Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Unacceptable in any shape, form, or fashion. Because, like I said, when he did little things that they felt that was unorthodox, they would call me. You know, why didn't you call me? Tell me Lavelle had left your facility. You called me after I speak to him, and he let me know that he wasn't coming back. Why you didn't call me before he left?
Right. Midway, in my opinion, dropped the ball several times. To
Several.
lead to lead up to the death of Lavelle. I truly believe if they had followed protocol during this time of his passing, he will also still be here. Um, let's take it and let me explain something to people. A lot of people says that, oh, when kids get murdered or something happens to them, they want to say they have a disability. Well, let's make sure we make this known for the record. We're not just saying after the fact, after he was killed, after he was found dead in his cell, that he had mental disability. We are showing you guys that we have receipts that he was already diagnosed with a disability, and why this case is so important, and how the system failed yet another person with disability in South Carolina. I am Rhoda Your Life, why I am bringing it to you live, raw and uncut, with his mother and also his father, wondering why is our son deceased? How and why did the system fail yet another child here in South Carolina? I'm Rhoda Young. Take us up to October the 2nd.
Okay, like I said, Lavelle snuck back up to New York, possibly March, April of 2021. So in September, he went back. He was homeless when he was up in New York because, I mean, like I said, he was down here like 3 years, possibly going on four. And he snuck back up to New York. So he didn't have a resident in New York. So he was homeless. He was hopping shelter to shelter. And he went and admitted himself in the hospital, which is called Gracie Square, up in Manhattan in New York. And Gracie Square was in communication with me and with Midway, where he left from. That upon his discharge, his dad and I bought him a Greyhound bus ticket. They put him in an Uber and sent him to the Port Authority, which is the Greyhound bus terminal in New York. and he rode 11 hours back to South Carolina to Spartanburg, and Midway picked him up. Now, this was on the 22nd of September. October the 2nd, Lavell was irrational. I guess, he'd been off his medication for over a year. So they was trying to get him back stable, and they sent him out to the hospital, Spartanburg Regional, unescorted in the ambulance. When they got him to Spartanburg Regional, um, they took him in the emergency room, the regular emergency room like you or I would go to if we were sick. Instead of him, Spartanburg Regional has a section in the back of the regular ER for people with mental illness. They didn't
Mom,
sit back
do,
there.
Mom, do you mind if I stop you for a minute?
No, go ahead, dog.
Are you telling me yet again, Midway, drop the ball with your son again?
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
you telling me that your son was in a mental facility, which is by the name of Midway,
Yes, ma'am.
knew your son was having some more emotional psychotic issues?
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of escorting him to the hospital, they allowed him to go on his own?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. They put him in the ambulance and sent him. Now,
With
through the
no,
episode, he twice, let me stop you, twice. That Wednesday, they sent him out. When he got to the hospital in the ambulance, when he got to the hospital, like I said, he was in the regular emergency ER. He got up and punched somebody in the face. So the hospital police called the regular police. They took him to Spartanburg Detention Center, same place he died. This is the first time. They administered some type of shot to my son. Two shots. Two shots, mind you. And I got people that's behind me, advocates and lawyers and stuff. The drug that they administered to Lavelle, they gave him double the dose for a normal human being. So after they administered the shot to Lavelle, they sent him back to Midway instead of taking him back to the hospital. I ain't no police. I'm not saying the police administered the shot, but I do believe that they called a nurse. On the way back to sending him to Midway, they called and let Midway know Lavelle was on his way back. They were sending him back. His little caseworker, social worker told him, no, 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 don't send him back here. Take him to the hospital. What the police dispatch, I guess, because I have no information. The case is being investigated, so I don't have no information. I'm just telling you what was told to me. Um, that he was back in transport. And she told him, no, 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 take him to the hospital. They told him he was already on the way back to Midway. Um, she told me, Crystal, who was a social worker, she says that when Lavelle got back to Midway, he had on no shirt. He was shackled at his waist and his wrists. He had on shackles on his ankles. She said she had to literally help him up out the back seat and turn his legs around like in the back seat of a car and put him on the street. And the officer came around and unshackled him and unshackled his legs. And she asked him, did he eat? Was he hungry? He told her no. She said she had to get another staff to help Lavelle out the car. Say he was out of it, out of it. He told her all you want to do was go lay down. So once they got him in there in his bed. She said about 2 hours later she went back to her office and did some paperwork. She said about 2 hours later, Lavelle came in there and told her he was burning all over. He was just burning, 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 and it wouldn't stop. That's the first time. So that Saturday, they sent
so
Lavelle out.
so Midway, so Midway never called to get him no type of medical attention. He's telling the people in the facility, I'm burning. They see that the police bring him back not in the same state of mind. They see that he's exhausted. They see that he's tired. Then he come into there and tell them that something in the inside just ain't right. Are you telling me a day go past and we at Saturday ain't no medical attention?
That's what I'm telling you.
Mm.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so the second time, the weekly staff and the weekend staff is different. So the weekend staff said Lavelle was pacing back and forth, back and forth that Saturday. So she called the ambulance once again. So they took Lavelle back to Spartanburg Regional. Lavelle called me from Spartanburg Regional. They hadn't called me. Lavelle called me. I wouldn't knew Lavelle was in the hospital unless he called me. He called me and told me, Ma, they're trying to keep me. I'm not staying in here. I said, Lavelle, you get your medicine and you go back to Midway. I said, you need your little medicine. Let them people do what they got to do. He said, Ma, I'm not staying here. And he hung up the phone. Okay, possibly 3 hours later, 4 hours later, Lavelle calls me again. Lavelle then left the hospital. And I'm pretty sure without their permission, they didn't discharge him because they would have sent him back to Midway. He calls me and tells me he's at this Hampton Inn on Chestnut Highway. Lavelle, what you doing at the hotel? He said, Ma, I told you I wasn't staying there. They was trying to keep me. He said the guy here is cool. He's letting me sit in here because that particular Saturday it was cold outside. It was really cold. He said I spoke to him. He said he let the Lavelle come in because he's cold out. It was cold outside, and he said he didn't just sit there. He was in and out, in and out, in and out. He said when it was time for him to leave, he said he worked from 7 to 7. When he left, he told the Lavelle that it was a different staff coming up. I mean, a different the receptionist coming in, and that she probably wouldn't let him stay in there, that he probably would have to leave. So right after that, in between him leaving, he was walking in the road. Someone called and said there was a pedestrian in the road, so obviously the police come. Now I didn't know it was against the law to walk in the street, but obviously it is.
Right.
So they picked up Lavelle.
But I thought it's more like a summons. You know, if you get caught jaywalking,
That's
you get a
what
summons.
that's exactly. That's what it's supposed to be. But obviously, I mean, they make up their laws as they go. So once they got him, he ran. Well, the police approached him. I mean, it's 11 o'clock, 10:30 at night. He ran. I would have ran too. You know me, and I don't
Yeah.
think I have no mental illness. Sometimes I do,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't. But anyway, that was a little joke. Anyway, once Lavelle ran, he said he stopped. He said it's a small little tree line spot, and he came back and said he asked him why did he run. He said he told him he was scared. I would have been scared too. That time
Yeah.
it's dark. This is not New York. You know what I mean? These
Right.
roads is dark down here. And first thing you see the police, that big bright light coming on you, I would have been scared too.
And all you doing is walking the street, you know?
Exactly. So he picked him up. He took him to Spartanburg Detention Center, same place he was 3 days before, because they knew him because they administrated a shot to Lavelle. So
So no one.
they knew, even if it wasn't the same officer. When you get picked up by the police, they run your name. So his name was in the system. So they knew. And it
So
went
it should have been
it
a
went
foul. It
it
should have
went
been a foul.
downhill from there.
It
Next thing
should.
I know, I mean, my daughter said this was 11:20, 10:23 when they picked Lavelle up. At 4:45, my son was dead. And let
11:23.
me tell you something. Since August, 4 people have died in that Spartanburg detention center.
So you're telling me between 11 something, 11:30 at night, and to 4 something in the a.m., your son lost his life.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Have you been able to find out why your son died? How did he die? And
No, no. And the day is the 35th day. No, ma'am.
can I speak to his father for a minute? I think I have one of your daughters up here as well.
That's my niece. That's my niece.
Can I speak
Hey,
to your husband too for a second?
he just left to go and check in to work. He
Okay.
works from 12 to 12.
Okay, we'll
But
bring your
he
niece in. How you doing,
back.
niece?
He'll be back. That's Laverne.
How you doing,
Hello.
Laverne?
I'm doing just fine. How about you?
I'm doing great. It's sad to me to have to meet you guys in this situation right here. Um, I want to know more about Lavelle and what do you know about what happened to him during the time that he was in police custody? Because I'm confused how he lose his life within 4 hours.
Well, um, as my aunt stated, we don't know much. We don't know anything actually. We are clueless as to how my little first cousin lost his life in their custody, and they were supposed to be protecting and serving and helping him, to get wherever he needed to be. I think there was I don't know.
Speculate.
I don't want to speculate anything, and I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm here to support my aunt and my family. Um, this is just something that needs to stay surfaced, and something needs to be done about it, and it needs to stop happening.
Come
It's
here.
our family going through this. Our family is so hurt from this. Other families shouldn't have to hurt from this. It should stop. It should stop, and it should stop now. This is a pain that's unbearable.
How do it make you feel as a woman, knowing that something happened to Lavelle inside of that jail, and no one would give his mother and his father answers and closure to what happened to their child?
Well, I believe that if they weren't hiding anything, they would have come forth in the beginning with everything. If there was nothing to hide or nothing that they were afraid would incriminate them, I believe they would have been straightforward with everything. So obviously, I mean, I'm about facts. I'm about what's really happening. I don't want to think and wonder and guess. We don't know what happened because they ain't telling us what happened. They not showing us what happened. So we don't know. But this needs to stop.
For
And
real.
I hate that my cousin had to be even a part of this statistic. This needs to stop.
What is it that you would like to say to the Spartanburg, South Carolina Sheriff Department and also the police department about failing Lavelle, someone that's known to have mental issues? Why wasn't there a file built for him so when he was picked up that people was on alert that he has mental issues, and instead of him going to jail, he should have been taken to an institution where they was designed to work with him and also had the experience to work with people with disability? What would you like to say to them?
I would like to say that if it was their family, if the shoe was on the other foot, I believe they would have wanted somebody to give a damn.
Wow, wow. I
If it
can't
was their
hardly.
child or their nephew or their grandchild or their cousin or even their friend's child,
That's
they would want somebody to give a damn
that's right.
enough, to care enough to try to help that young man. They will want somebody to have gave a damn. From I from what I see and hear, nobody gave a damn about Lavelle
Right,
on that night. Nobody gave a damn besides his family, and he was not with us.
right,
He was in their custody. The
right,
jobs that they took to protect and serve, they should have gave a damn.
right,
That's right.
right. I think we have Marcus. I can't hardly see 'cause the words are so small. Is that Marcus on the line?
Yeah, I'm on the line.
How you doing?
Yeah,
Your camera is off. Do you know that?
yeah. No, it's off. Um, uh, is that okay?
That's
Yeah, my
fine.
name's yeah.
Go ahead. What would you like to say? Who are you?
Oh yeah, my name is Marcus McDonald. I'm with Charleston Black Lives Matter. I'm an activist in Charleston, and yeah, I didn't know if y'all want me to speak on the issue or not. I was just, listening in, but just, listening from what people already said, it was a very similar situation happening in Charleston, I want to say about a year ago with Jamal Sutherland. I don't know if a lot of y'all familiar with that story, but it was somebody who was in the mental health hospital around the same age. He was 28, black man, and the health hospital called the police in the facility, and transported them to the Alcan Detention Center where the jail was, and then I want to say within maybe like 3 hours, or maybe close to like 12. They had tased them and pepper sprayed them to death, and that was, I would say, like 2021, and that was in Charleston. But this story, it's a lot of similarities, and people are saying this keeps happening, and I agree. Like there needs to be like systemic changes so this doesn't keep happening to families, and families don't have to keep mourning for these same issues. So I totally agree, and I'm in solidarity with y'all, and like anything I can do to help, I'm here for y'all.
Let
Thank you.
me ask you a couple of questions since you do work with a lot of different issues that goes on in the community, like myself. Is this the first known like case recently in this year, 2022, that people are losing their lives inside of the Spartanburg jail?
I know this isn't the only incident. I always hear about a lot of like inmate deaths, but they like to cover them up. Some of them don't get to the news. I know there's a lot of inmate advocates who work for a lot of people inside, and I'm I would like to say like there's in South Carolina, I know there's been at least like 4 to 5 inmate deaths this year, and that's just what I've known on the news. But I'm not sure like which counties. That's just like South Carolina wide, but they can be really good at hiding and not putting some inmate deaths on the news. So it's something to look into. I'm not sure again about Spartanburg, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was true. I
Well,
just haven't done my research on it.
I know for a fact that it's been four since August, just August, and today
Wow.
in this November, it's been four deaths since August, and I made my lawyer aware to see if this is a pattern with the night shift because Lavelle's was 4:45 before before day, and it's another one that died on I want to say Halloween, and it was 2:43, I think. I'm just trying to see if this is the night people. You know what I mean? I don't know for sure because I don't know the times, but you can look it up. You can look it up because it's known.
Also, if it's any other families that's out there that lost loved ones inside the Spartanburg, South Carolina jail system, I'm Rodeo Live from Norfolk, Virginia. I'm here to share your story. We need more people to come out to show a pattern of what's really going on inside of the Spartanburg police station and sheriff department so we can hold the responsible parties accountable. No one else should have to experience what Mrs. Beverly and her family has to go through. They don't have any answers, and we're 35 days into the death of young 29-year-old Lavelle. Why did he die? How did he die? And why did the system fail him as a mental patient of South Carolina? What's going on with the group home that he was in, and why every time he seek medical, he was sent out on his own? How did he supposed to get back to the group home after getting medical attention? On Road to Your Life out of Norfolk, Virginia, bringing you the breaking news of what's really going on in South Carolina. It's a sad day here where our mothers and our fathers are thinking that our kids may just be okay, but yet in trouble. But then they come back with the people that supposed to protect and serve them deceased. Moms, what is it that you would like to say to the Spartanburg Sheriff Department and the police department
They need
about your son?
accountability. We need accountability because ain't nobody telling us nothing. I know you have to investigate stuff, but I mean, you brought him in there. He was walking, and when he came out of there, he was carried out. And as you say, Miss Young, it's the day is the 35th day, and we still don't know. I know time takes time, but I mean, why does it take you 35 days if nothing went on illegally on y'all behalf? Why it taking so long for y'all to show us the footage? Because police wear body cam. When you're a inmate in jail, you observe because there's cameras everywhere. Big brothers everywhere. That's what we call New York cameras because they on the street. They catch you. in your car, when you run lights and you catch a license plate. Big brother everywhere. If you're not hiding anything, why is it taking you so long to give us that footage
Wow.
and
When
give
they
us
found your son,
a cause of death?
when they
Lavelle,
found your,
Lavelle's death certificate says pending. What is pending?
if I was down the street right now, they would say, "Oh, she died from a heart attack or some type of medical issue, or she was shot, or she was strangled." But we are still looking into the investigation. They have some type of reason why he passed in that jail cell.
Because they hiding something. I'm gonna tell it straight up. That's my opinion. They,
Lavelle was found in his
if they
cell.
wasn't if they wasn't hiding nothing, they would have been disclosed that information.
Right. Lavelle was found in his cell with no clothes on and on his knees. How did he get like that? Do anybody knows?
I don't know. They have
Is that your phone, sister? Whose phone is that? I'm sorry. Somebody's phone was acting out.
wait. Well, what I didn't did. Wait a
No,
minute.
you fine.
I
You
can't
fine.
wait. I can't see you no more.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Give me a second, y'all.
Yes,
I,
ma'am. Guys, while she get her camera in order for the ones that's just tuning in, we have a 29-year-old black man that was suffering from a mental breakdown that was arrested once. And guys, when he went to jail, I have the receipts where the jail administered 2 shots of something into her child. He was sent back to the group home where he was residing at due to his mental disability. Um, Once they brought him back to the group home with his mental disability, the group home said he was shackled from his ankle to his waist and he was out of it. He was out of it. He claimed that he was sleepy, he was tired. They had to get someone else to help him out the police car. He was sent to his room to go to bed. He came out his room. He informed the group home staff that his insides was burning and that it felt like he was on fire. No medical facility was informed about the about how Lavelle was feeling after he got out of jail and receiving 2 shots from the sheriff department, allegedly. When the shift switched, the night shift came in, they seen the conditions of Lavelle and they called and seek out for medical for him, where he was taken back to the hospital by AMBO. Lavelle contacted his mother and told her that he was hospitalized yet again. She said she wouldn't have known her son was in the hospital if he didn't call, because yet again the group home failed to inform the mother what was going on with her child. Lavelle somehow left the hospital, guys, and proceeded to be walking down the street late on that night where he was stopped by Spartanburg Police Department. He was placed under arrest. He was locked up around 11 something that night, 11:30 that night. By 4:08 a.m. in the morning, Lavelle was dead.
that's
It's
right.
35 days later, and no one inside the facility has given his mother, father, sister, cousin, and loved ones any explanation why a healthy young man got picked up in custody, walking and walked into your jail facility and came out in a body bag. I'm
And
Brother Young Live.
let me tell you, the sheriff's name is Chuck Wright of Spartanburg. And he made a comment. One of the activists called him out maybe 30 or 40 times to make him respond. And he responded on Facebook, but that man has not contacted me as of yet. And I did contact him. I'm gonna get to that. He responded to the guy on Facebook, which his name is Chance LeBron. He's an activist. And he told him, well, he's sorry. The young fella went to sleep and died. That's not true. Lavelle was healthy. Like I told you in the beginning, Lavelle had a 100% track scholarship. If Lavelle wanted to get away from that police, he wouldn't have. He would have got away, but he came out with his hands up. Anyway, the Shaw University had 18 students and 2 staff on the bus on their way. Shaw in North Carolina. They were on their way to Georgia for a conference. They have this thing in the month of October here in South Carolina called Rolling Thunder. They do random stops for looking for drugs. So they stopped these young college students on their bus, on their charter bus, on their way to Georgia, and they brought the dogs on the bus, and they terrorized them kids. I mean, the same way they did Lavelle.
Right. I seen that
So the Shaw
video.
University president, she she's suing them. You know, she wants to know why. I'm not gonna say she's suing them, but she wants to know why those children were stopped. Dogs brought on the bus. They have to sit outside on the curb like animals.
Yeah. And the thing about that situation, it's not like they just doing it to black people. They doing it to all people because students on that bus, I seen that video. They were black, white, there was some Chinese. So it was just the fact that this police station allegedly is they're out of order.
Yes,
They're out
yes.
of order. Cousin,
So,
what you got to say about what's going on? What you got to say about the situation?
so listen, they had a press conference,
Mhm.
and I seen on the news it was Monday past. It was Halloween. I seen on the news that they say Chuck Wright was having a press conference. So guess who went to that press conference?
You did.
He didn't come in the front though. He came in the back though. So my daughter and I, we were sitting in the car, and she got a tablet. We was watching the press conference because we went inside. They said it was only for the press. They wouldn't let us go in. So we watched the press conference in the car, and we seen the press conference winding up. So my youngest daughter went to the front because the news people, because we got there about 20 minutes to 11. We got there before time. We seen the news people go in the front though. But where's Chuck Wright? So the same activist that called Chuck Wright out, called him out on Facebook, and he answered. The poor young fella went to sleep and died. His what does being black have to do with it? He told us that his little F-150 was in the back. So when we seen it winding down, my daughters went to the front, and I went to the back with Chance. Sure enough, he come out on his phone. He didn't see us. It was pouring down raining. He looked to the right. Chance said, Chuck Wright, when are you gonna let the Lane family see the footage of Lavelle? When he turned his head and looked and seen me, he didn't say it, but the expression on his face said, "Oh my God, this is this boy Lavelle mother. Sure is live in the flesh." So he walked over to me. He says to me, first he says, "Now this is the first time that in any interaction and any shape, form, email, phone call, letter, card, anything, that he got in touch with me and said, 'I'm sorry for your loss. SLED is investigating the case. They told me I can't talk to you.'" Then he said, I said, "So when can I see the footage of my son confined in your jail?" He said, "When SLED finish their investigation, they'll get in touch with your lawyers, and then they'll let you know what comes after." Then he proceeded to say, "I'm going to tell you this, sweetie. If my officers, if anything has been gone, anything went wrong, if my officer has any wrongdoing going on, I will personally arrest them." But at first, you said the young man, in the first time, you said the young man,
I
you said the young man fell asleep and
I
died.
I don't want to end this video, but I had another appointment at 12 this noon this afternoon. So I'm gonna have to wrap it up.
That's fine.
I want to speak to you more. And I want to follow you through this investigation. But before we go, to add salt to your wound, your son has an upcoming court date.
Yeah, yeah. I buried Lavelle on the 11th. On the 19th, they issued a court date for him to go to court for that pedestrian roadway.
So
Now,
your son is deceased, and they still issue him to come to court.
Yes, ma'am. On the 14th, and I'll be there.
How do a man that died in the custody of Spartanburg Sheriff Department supposed to show up to court? This court date was issued. The issue is the court date was issued after his death.
On the
Why
night,
was a
the
why
night.
would a why would a court date be issued for a man who got killed allegedly inside of y'all jail to add salt to his mother open wound, and y'all still want him to appear in court, but yet y'all took his life in Spartanburg, South Carolina on Rodeo Young Live. Well, it's sad to me that I have to end this video um on this note. I hope the people out there will share this story because we're sick and tired of our mothers and fathers burn their kids and getting no answers. This mother is crying out for help. She's crying out for resources. If anybody got resources and know how to push forward and make the police department and the sheriff department give up the body count to show what exactly happened to her child inside of that jail, we need your help. We need for you to share the video. We need for you to make phone calls. We need you to call the mayor. We need you to call the governor of South Carolina. Let them know and place them on notice that we would not allow them to push this death underneath the rug. And we also want to know how many more people have died inside of Spartanburg jail. Before we go, Mama, can you close it out and with your plea to the public?
I mean, there's strength in numbers. I need backup. This is new. I don't know what to do. You have any suggestions? Just call and write and email these South Carolinians, because I mean, I don't want to say nothing against the police, but I'm gonna say it like I feel it. You know, if you white, you right.
Right.
And you black, get back. I mean, that's just the way it's been, and that's just the way it is. That's coming from my heart, because if he was a white young man, they'd ask him, "What's your phone number? Let me call your mama. Let me call somebody." They probably would even drove him home. The boy, the Dylan Root up there when in Emmanuel Pentecostal Church in Charleston, they he escaped and went. He killed them 9 people, and then sat there and did prayer meeting with him, and got to Virginia. And when they was transporting him back to South Carolina, they took him to Burger King.
Wow. What would you like to say to the group home that failed your son if they had did protocol and assisted him on the way and made sure the police officers and everybody was informed that this child would be en route to the facility, and if anything happened, that he is a child, a person of disabilities? What would you say to them for failing your child multitudes of times?
They should have called me. They called me when he was doing bullshit, and I'm gonna tell you just like that. They should have called me when they sent him out to the hospital. They
Wow.
didn't call. They didn't call me. Lavelle called me.
Would you be planning on pressing charges or filing a lawsuit on them as well as the state of South Carolina?
Well, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do right now because I don't have no cause of death. So I'm not gonna speculate, and I'm not gonna put that out there. But everybody, I'm gonna say it like this: everyone that had was involved with Lavelle from October the 2nd to October the 3rd, from when they sent him out. So I guess that's a yes. From when they sent him out to the time they carried him out in that body bag, everybody's going to be held accountable. In the name of Jesus, I claim that.
Amen. He said, when two or more come into agreement, it shall be done. Cousin, what would you like to say before we go?
Vern,
Look like we lost her. Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you all for staying with us during this interview with Lavelle mother, Mrs. Beverly, who heart is just broken at her husband, his father. I watched the press conference, guys. I have all the receipts. Later this afternoon, after I finish with my rest of my interviews, I will be uploading where medicine in um he got medicine put in his body. We need to figure out who administered that medication to him, and did that medication have anything to do with his death? Did that medication start killing him slowly that the jail put in him? We want to know. These are the unanswered questions that we have. We want to know, why did the group home follow protocol?
They
What
tased Lavelle too. They tased him more
they
than once.
take
Yes, yes. They tased my boy more than once. Yes, ma'am. That's what the coroner told me. Yes, ma'am. Spartanburg coroner. That's what they told me. Yes, ma'am. They tased him as well. Instead of sending him to the hospital, he's going through all these episodes while he's in their custody. So obviously, you know something is wrong with him mentally. Why do you have him confined? Why you don't send him to the hospital where doctors can analyze and do what they need to do? He didn't belong in jail for walking down the street. That's not a death sentence. My son got a death sentence for walking down the road. I say street because I'm from New York. That's what, but these is roads. You don't find sidewalks down here. Very far and few. You know what I mean? Most of them are dirt roads.
That's another thing. Abuse of the tasers. I think that we need more governor. The tasers need to be more governed. Like, I don't think that these police officers should be able, like they just can't take a billy club and bust your head open without reasoning. They should not be able to take these tasers out whenever they feel like and taser people. I mean, like, actually like electrocuting people at a lower vote. I think it should be more restrictions on them using their tasers. Red light, it's restrictions on them using their guns. Somebody need to do some type of investigation of how many people have lost their lives from tasers. Tasers are not safe, okay? Tasers are just as deadly as the gun that they tote. And these tasers are being overused. You got people who got a power control that would taser a person just to see how a person body shape and how they react. And when it don't feel good enough to them, they'll re-taser them. And that's how these people are losing their lives. They're losing their lives because the police are over policing and the sheriffs are over abusing people inside the jail system. It has answers. Questions need to be answered, and we want answers. We want the battle footage of what happened to Lavelle laying inside of Spartanburg, South Carolina jail system. And I won't stop. I won't stop reporting on this story until the mother and father and his family get the results that they need and that they want. We want answers. I'm here with you. If I got to come to South Carolina myself and help continue to expose what's really going on, you'll be my first trip really from out of the state of Virginia where I will report directly in front of jailhouse. Guys, it's on and it's on and it's on. If I can stand with this family, I need you to stand with this family. Please share this video. We must stand up and stop what's going on to our children here in the United States. I'm
Yes.
Rhoda Your Live. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well, and I'll be speaking with you soon.
Okay. You
God
have
bless you.
and thank you everyone for tuning in. I mean, yes, yes, let's unify
Yeah.
because I mean, it's strength in numbers. I mean, you never know because I never know that coroner was going to knock on my door October the 3rd. It could be you. You never know. You never know because I would have never thought in my all my days that Lavelle would be in the ground. And let me say this before we go. Lavelle is my seventh child. That's the number of completion. My son used to tell me, Ma, how am I stop these voices in my head? I told him to pray, pray. Schizophrenia, if you don't know, you hear voices, and they need to be better trained to accommodate people with mental illness. They need training for that. Everybody, I don't know what normal is or whatever you want to call it, quote unquote normal, but people have mental issues. It's not a death sentence, but it was for Lavelle.
Can I have to beg the pardon if it's okay?
Sure.
I don't think a lot of training need to be given when you have your own eyes and you can see that this person has mental issues. You know, the system like to blame it on a lack of training. No, let's say a lack of care, a lack of
Oh,
humanity,
definitely.
a lack of humanity. Because if I was seeing your son and seeing him walking and seeing his body language, and I'm not a professional at all, and these police officers work with mental people on a daily basis, I, as a regular citizen, will realize and understand that this person is have issues. I won't be able to tell you what issues he have, but I'll be able to tell you that he need to be hospitalized or he need the authorities on him. This is not normal behavior.
Right.
The
Right.
police officers know right from wrong. They know jail sentences from mental facilities. They take who they want to take to the mental facilities and they put who they want to put in jail. And we're sick and we're tired and we're tired of playing their games. We want answers about what happened to your son. They knew better and they need to do better.
That's
I'm
right.
really alive. God bless you.
God bless you too, darling. I appreciate you. Call in, y'all. Call South Carolina detention
Do you got
center.
a number?
Um, I don't
Not
have.
on you.
I don't
We can
have.
post it. We can post it in the comments.
Okay. All right. That's what I'll do.
The
That's
Lord is my strength and my salvation. For whom should I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. For whom should I be afraid? For when the wicked man's enemy and my foes come upon me to eat up my flesh, they shall all tumble and fall. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray that the Lord heal you from the inside out right now, Lord. Fix it. In Jesus' name, amen.
in Jesus' name. Amen. Bless you.